A quiet temple in the early morning light, a gentle breeze stirring the trees. A solitary figure, a monk in simple robes, sits peacefully by a small stream. The camera slowly zooms in on his face, reflecting a serene wisdom. Have you ever felt like there's just too much noise in your life? All the chatter in your mind, the distractions around you, the pressure to keep up with everything happening in the world? It can be overwhelming. But what if, instead of running from the noise, you could find peace by embracing silence? What if silence, deep and meaningful, could help you find clarity, wisdom, and true calm? Today, I want to share the story of a monk who chose silence, not to escape the world, but to connect with it more deeply. His decision would change his life in ways he never expected, and it might just change how you look at silence too. A younger version of the monk, eager and full of energy, is speaking to a group of novices. This is the story of Surya, a monk who lived in a mountain monastery. He was known for being lively and full of energy. Always ready with a joke or a story, he was the one everyone looked to for entertainment and laughter. But deep down, something wasn't right. Despite all his energy, he started feeling restless. The constant noise, the chatter in his head, the conversations around him, the need to always be on, it all started to wear him down. One day, after a long day of teaching, Surya went to see his teacher, Bhavana. He wanted to understand why he felt so uneasy. Surya, Master, I feel like there's so much noise around me, and inside me too. How can I find peace when it's all so loud? Bhavana looked at him with calm eyes and said, Surya, you won't find peace by escaping the world. You need to embrace silence, not to run away, but to find the clarity that only silence can give you. The monk walks away from the monastery, descending a mountain trail, deep in thought. Surya didn't fully understand what Bhavana meant, but he decided to give it a try. At first, he wasn't sure how to begin. But he started with small steps. During meals, instead of chatting away with his fellow monks, he focused on the food, tasting each bite, savoring the moment. When it was time to meditate, he worked harder at just observing his thoughts without reacting to them. He didn't try to control them, he just let them come and go, like leaves floating down a stream. And in the evening, during the gatherings when everyone shared their stories and lessons, Surya chose to listen. He didn't need to speak or entertain anyone. He just listened, really listened, and in doing so, he began to hear things he hadn't noticed before, like the soft sound of birds in the trees, the change in the air with each passing season, or the rustle of leaves in the wind. Little by little, he began to feel a sense of calm he hadn't experienced in years. He was starting to connect with the world in a way he hadn't before, all through the power of silence. Surya sitting under a tree, eyes closed, in deep contemplation. The world around him is in motion, but he remained still. But then, something happened. One evening, Bhavana invited Surya to share a lesson at the next gathering. It was a big deal. All the monks would be there, waiting to hear what he had to say. For the first time in a while, Surya felt nervous. He had grown so used to silence, to simply observing and listening, that the idea of speaking again felt strange. What could he possibly say that would be worth sharing? But when it was his turn to speak, he simply said, I've spent so much time talking, trying to entertain and make others laugh. But now, I've learned that sometimes, the best wisdom comes not from speaking, but from being present in the silence. The monks listened intently, their faces softening as the words settled in their hearts. There was no applause, no grand speech. But something shifted in that moment. The monks didn't need words, they felt the depth of what Surya had said. They understood. Silence had taught him a wisdom that words could never capture. Surya didn't just stop talking. He still shared his insights and stories, but now he did so with a deeper sense of peace. His silence wasn't an absence, but a presence. It allowed him to listen, not only to the world around him, but to the stillness within himself. Surya walking along a quiet mountain path, his robes flowing gently in the wind, a peaceful smile on his face. Surya's journey teaches us that silence isn't about hiding away or avoiding life. It's about embracing the quiet moments that help us listen more deeply. Silence doesn't push us away from the world, it helps us connect with it more fully. In today's noisy world, it can be hard to find moments of stillness. But when was the last time you really took a step back and embraced silence? Not to escape, but to listen, to reflect, and to reconnect with what truly matters. Remember Surya's story next time you feel overwhelmed. Sometimes, the most powerful thing we can do is to choose silence and let it guide us to peace. The screen fades to a peaceful image of a quiet temple at dusk. A soft, tranquil melody plays in the background. Thanks for spending this time with me today. May your own journey be filled with moments of peace, reflection, and silence. And remember, sometimes the best way to find your voice is to embrace the quiet moments that allow your heart to speak.